Fall is quickly approaching, and that means that we need to get our businesses ready to do business. And I know how stressful this time of year can feel because we're enrolling new students, we're enrolling old students, we're making sure that all the to-do lists are set and that we're figuring out all the new things that we're implementing, and it can feel a little overwhelming. So, in today's broadcast, what we are going to do is we are going to break down the to-do lists. We are going to focus on what is most important to you so that you can set yourself up for success in this coming season. So if you are ready to do that with me, give me a ready below and we are going to get started. Let's do this. All right, welcome to the broadcast, everyone. I'm so glad that you are here. The topic of the day is setting our studios up for success this fall because I know it's happening. It's happening really fast, happening faster than most of us are ready for. I see there are a few people here who say, Craig's like, I'm ready. Leishan says she's ready. And that's what we're going to be focusing in on today. How can we set ourselves up for success so that we're not feeling overwhelmed when the fall semester starts? So many music teachers teach the K through 12 audience, right? And so we have a tendency to run on school years, whether or not that's a good thing, and just kind of is how it is. And so this time of year can feel particularly stressful because you've got lots of people, making schedule requests. You're trying to hold to what you want to have, and there can be lots of like pushes and pulls. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to focus in on 5 different items that will allow you to kind of reframe that success this fall and really set yourself up to step into the fall with confidence. So if you're ready to step into the fall with confidence, let me know below. If you are joining me live, be sure to say hello and let me know what you are planning for this fall. If you are joining later on in the replay, we love our replay viewers. So jump into the conversation. I'm always happy to come back and ask questions and celebrate with you. If you are new here, my name is Sara Campbell, and I am a business strategist, marketing, and mindset coach for music studio owners and online education experts just like yourself. And we go live here on the coaching page every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Welcome to the broadcast, everyone. We are going to be going through 5 different things today. And I think they're really valuable. So I'd love to have conversations with you all about these 5 things. And if you'd like to contribute to the conversation, then give us a hashtag takeaway and let us know what's important to you about this broadcast. If there's something that, kind of sparks an idea or you want to put it out into the universe that, hey, I'm going to do this, give us a hashtag takeaway and share those things. And as always, I've got some cool gifties set up for you guys today. I've got 2 things, actually. I have a really cool invite to an upcoming event, and I have an awesome download that I think is really, really cool. It has to do with success. So if you want to get a hold of those things, if you give me a success below, then I will make sure that the Savvy Sara bot sets you up with those things. All right, so let's get to it. I see Anna's tuning in from Central Florida. Nice to see you. Craig is saying that his goal is to get 40 lessons scheduled to start. He currently has 8, but he's got a lot of work to do and a positive attitude to do it. Excellent. And I see Pete is tuning in from Fort Worth. Pete, is always nice to see you. If you have any teacher friends who you think could benefit from watching this broadcast today, please be sure to invite them to join us. The more the merrier. We always have a really good time. All right. So I see lots of successes dropping into the chat. Let's get to it, shall we? All right, so the topic is how to set your studio up for success. Sometimes, like when we see phrases like that, we might think, okay, Sarah's giving us a checklist of like, here are all the things that I have to do. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. There's not a checklist today. What we are doing is we are setting aside the to-do lists for a second, and we're going to reframe what success looks like. And we're going to ask ourselves some important questions and think of some really important things so that we can step into the fall with confidence and not overwhelm. So let's get started. Let's look at item number 1. Here we go. Okay, the first thing that we need to do when we're stepping into a new season, and you might, be in the process of rolling out maybe some new policies, maybe some new tuition, maybe you've kind of switched things up this year after the crazy year that we've been through. I want you to consider the needs and desires. And I want you to consider it in 2 ways. So, what is it that you need? What is it that you desire? And then also, what is it that your clients need and what do they desire? So we're looking at both sides here and we're really sitting down and thinking about, well, what is it that I need? What is it that I want? And notice that I have needs and desires, or needs and wants. They're 2 separate things, right? The needs will be the things that, okay, I need this in order to run a successful business. I need this in order to have a happy life. And then we look beyond just the needs, because quite often I have found that when, especially as small business owners, we have a tendency to stop with the need. And we really don't think about the desire. We don't think further than, what do I need in order to run? What do I need in order for things to work? But what if we took a moment and asked ourselves, what is it that I really want? Right? What is it that you really want to see in this new semester? What is it that would take you beyond just that need and into a place of abundance? Thank you, Amy. She says, I love this. It's a great clarification. Thank you, Amy. I'm so glad that resonates. So I want you to sit down and make a list. What is it that I need? What is it that I desire? And then also consider, what is it that your clients need? And what is it that they desire? Making a list of the regular things, the needs, is important, but really digging deep and thinking about, what is it that they desire? Now, if you don't have the answer to that question, this is something that I love. Here's a little tip. You can put this on your to-do list. I said we weren't doing to-do lists, but I love this tip. At the beginning of every new session or semester or whatever you call it, I sit down with my clients during that first lesson, and we set some priorities and goals. And we think about, what is it that they really want to be able to do? What do they really want to be able to sing? What do they really want to be able to play? Or what is it that they want to do with music? And that gives us so much good information, because me personally, I love to individualize lessons and really make sure that our time spent together is geared towards what they want. Makes for really good customer relations, just saying. I see some wants here. Craig says, I want to see commitment from my students. Great. So this gives you fantastic data, Craig, right? So how are you going to encourage that commitment? What does the commitment look like for you? What does the commitment look like for them? I love it. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Once you've considered your needs and desires, then it's time to set your priorities. And so, often when we're rolling out tuition changes or policy changes, we think that, I should do this. I should do this because other teachers are doing it. And then we end up with all this stuff that we should do, and you end up shoulding all over yourself, which is never a good place to be in. Before you look at that list of shoulds, revisit the needs and desires and think about, what are the priorities here? Sometimes the priorities that you may set for your life or your business means scaling back. Sometimes it means forging forward. Whatever those priorities are, we need to get super clear on them so that we are not just falling into the shoulds, right? And, focusing on, I should do this, I should do that. What is your priority? Going back to those needs and desires. What is the priority here? So I'm going to offer a little example of this. So for me, I'm in this awkward transition and I've been in it for a while where I'm scaling the studio down so that I can scale up the coaching business, or at least I was in that mode for a while. So I was scaling one thing down, scaling another thing up. And now what I've found, in order for me to set and keep the priorities that I really want, I have to understand that scaling up is not always the way to go. And so my priorities is to make sure that I have time to dream and think, time to hit the yoga mat. And I know that those two things, if I set those as priorities, then I will be able to better show up in both sides of my business. So it's all about considering what priorities should I set for myself, or priorities should I set in order for me to feed the needs and desires? And we can approach that again from our standpoint as the business owner and human being, and also the standpoint of our clients. What priorities are you going to set for your clients? Circling back for a second, we talked about these big to-do lists and these should lists that we have a tendency to gather. I would just love to know for a second, is anybody feeling the pressure of the should list? If you're feeling that pressure, I want you to say it out loud and share it with us here. The third step that I'm going to go through here should help you release a little bit of that pressure. Here we go. So step number 3, choose your targets. So what do I mean by this? Set your priorities, choose your targets. These seem like the same thing, Sarah. What the heck? All right, they're not the same thing. So when I'm talking about priorities, it's like sitting down and thinking, like, if I could just name 1 or 2 things that would be a priority for me this fall, what would they be? Okay, so for me, I already listed, and I'd love to know, what are your priorities this fall? I want you to name 2. Maybe 3 is a maximum, preferably 1. 1, 2, or 3. Share your priorities below, and let's look at what targets you might have to hit or aim for in order to keep those priorities front and center. So coming back to my example, like if I need more time to dream and to think and to process, then my targets kind of shift. So maybe my targets were before, okay, I have to add more one-on-one clients. I have to sell more of this. I have to sell more of that. Or for instance, your target in the past might have always been, I need to add more students. I need to add more students, right? If your desires and your priorities aren't really needing more don't align with needing more students, then the targets that you're going to choose and the things that you're going to focus on improving this fall won't necessarily be anything to do with getting new clients. I see some good things here. Okay, Michelle says safety. Is that weird? No, not at all. Maybe that's not a target. It's more of a concern. Maybe safety is a priority, right? And so if that safety is priority for you, then the way that we get to that place of safety, or the way that we maintain that place of safety, is going to be achieved through your targets. Kind of comes back to what we've said in the past of setting goals and strategies and tactics. So think of your priority as the big goal and the targets as your strategies. What are the strategies in order that you need to put in place in order for you to feel safe and to create a safe space? I see Laura is saying one of her priorities is to get more students, and then also time for lesson prep, right? So then thinking about like, what are the strategies or targets that you're going to put in place in order to make that happen? So we have to visit the needs and desires. We have to set those priorities, and then we have to think about how are we going to make those happen. That's when we choose our targets. So Laura, for instance, since you've shared yours, we can speak to that for a second. So if getting more students is one of the priorities, and then having time for lesson prep is another priority, there is a delicate balance there. And you're going to want to consider, okay, what does it look like in order for me to get new students? What does it look like in order for me to have the time to lesson prep? How can I make plans for those things and create measurable plans so that you know that you're headed in the right direction? Because sometimes we think that when we're going to add a whole bunch of new students to the schedule that we'll just magically find time to lesson prep. Has anybody ever fallen into that trap before? So, we have to consider how these things kind of play in with one another. I see Stephanie says she's moving and keeping half of her business online. Fantastic. So that's a great priority. Now consider what are the strategies or targets that you need to get in place to achieve that. Excellent. Very, very good. So let's move on to item number 4 here. If you guys are with me, let me know. Give me some little hearts and thumbs and things like that, or laughing faces. I don't know, whatever you choose. Item number 4. I need you to give yourself a raise. Maybe not need. I desire for you to give yourself a raise. And yes, this is kind of a to-do list item. And I thought it was important. I wasn't going to include it. And then I thought, let's consider this. So on a yearly basis, you should be giving yourself some type of a raise. And, if we don't do this consistently, what ends up happening over a period of time is that you're not keeping up with like the national average of like a wage increase, and with inflation kind of put into that as well, you end up way behind. So if you're waiting to to increase your tuition only once every 5 years, you've got a pretty big leap to make at that point. So it's easiest, in my personal opinion, to give yourself a raise on the regular, so that one, you're keeping up with what I just mentioned, wage increases, inflation, and all that stuff. 2, you're not shocking your clients. So if you're waiting once every time, I saw a post on my newsfeed from a good friend who said, I haven't given myself a raise in 10 years. And consider what he would have to do in order to catch up after 10 years of not increasing rates, what that hike would actually look like. So if you have given yourself a raise, I want you to give me something below. Let me know. I see Laura has given a check. Leishan gave herself a raise. Whoop, whoop. Awesome. Linda says done. Great. Anna gave herself an additional week off for the same tuition, and she's going to take a cruise. Okay. Chrissy's going to do a significant increase in the fall. She's been dreading it, but she needs to do it. There you go. Stephanie says needed a push. She's written the letter. Julie gave herself another one more week off. That is fabulous. You all are so brave. It's really, really awesome. So, keep that in your to-do list. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about to-do list, guys. I'm just sorry, but this is something that I so desire for you, because you are an amazing teacher and you are worth the amount that you want to charge, that dream rate that you have. You are worth that rate because you provide amazing services to your clients, and you do so much more than just teaching them music. So much more than that. Excellent. Okay, Shelley says, yes, it is done. Fantastic. Okay, we have one other item to discuss today. So let's get to item number 5. Item number 5 is refresh the permissions. I almost said like reboot the system, but I wanted to focus in on permissions here because I think this is important. Something that comes up quite frequently in Messenger and inside the social media course is the desire to want to be able to post more images of what you are doing in your studio. That's something that we really focus on. That's something that I personally focus on as a marketing and social media coach, really leaning into, you've got to celebrate the magic that you're creating. And there can be this kind of like block in place. And it comes from a couple of different places. It can be from your upbringing. It can be from your education. But these things that we bring with us that kind of make us pause in celebrating what's happening in the studio. And so I want you to refresh the permissions this year. Let me tell you what that means. Refreshing the permissions is making sure that everybody knows how things work in the studio. So whether that's like having people agree to a policy, or like having people look at a contract. And a little part of that, if you don't already have it in place, would be considering a social media release for your studio so that you do have permission to celebrate all of the good stuff, right? And if you don't have one of those already, now's the perfect time to add it. And it's something that, we have this like, I go back to that block around sharing images of what we do. But when we ask for the permissions and we give people the options to say yes and no, then we can start to unravel that block and to really step into marketing in a way that is truly unique to your studio, so that it's not just like, hey, I have open lessons. It's, hey, look, check out what like Jake and I did the other day. It was the coolest thing. And so that's just the bonus tip for today is refreshing the permissions. How many of you are going to be putting out some type of a permission refresh this fall? What does that look like for you? I'd love to know. Let us know. What do you do on a yearly basis to refresh the permissions so that you feel good, right? Okay, so those are the 5 things today. I'm going to talk for a second about the gifts that I have for you today. They're really excellent. Okay, the first thing I have is a gift for voice teachers. And yes, music teachers, you can benefit from this as well, but I'm going to be really transparent in saying this particular resource is made specifically with voice teachers in mind. And it's something that was made by my friend Michelle Marquette DeVoe, and I collaborated with her in putting together a really cool ebook with the content that she created. And so what this gift is it's a series of 8 emails and a journal that goes along with it that's going to help you define what success means for you. Because success means something different for the teacher next door and the other teacher down the street. Success for you is very individual and it's very personalized. So if I have any voice teacher friends out there who would like to get a hold of this free gift, you're going to drop a success below. The Savvy Sara bot will send you a link where you can get a hold of this email sequence and this amazing journal that we've put together for you. And I can't wait to hear all about how you're going to define success in your business. So that's item number 1. And I also have a gift for all of the piano teachers and music teachers in general out there. So let me tell you about this one. Next week on August 11th, we will not be doing the regular broadcast like we normally do. We are going to be doing a special thing with, oh my gosh, she's so cool, Carly Welton from Teach Music Online. And she is going to be running a special presentation for us about doubling your income in your studio without wasting money on ads. Right? Super cool. So if you want to get a hold of that and join us for that, it's not going to be on the Facebook page. It's going to be in a different format. So you will need to register for this particular event. And if you want to get a hold of that, put a success below and you will be given the page where you can register. I'm super excited about this. It's something that Carly and I have been talking about for a long time, and I really can't wait to team up with her again because she's just a delightful human being. And I love what she puts out into the universe for music teachers. She has really, really powerful content. And I should mention, there's going to be some really great giveaways going on during this presentation. Carly has a gift for everybody who attends live, and it's a super awesome checklist that I just think is fantastic. And I'm going to be giving away 2 things. I'm going to be giving away a 30-minute social media audit with me, and I'm going to be giving away one social media course. So lots of good things. Those are for those, the giveaways are for those who attend live. So get that information. It's going to be at the same day and time that we normally have our broadcast, which I thought would be so convenient for you guys. All right. So those are the gifts. I see lots of successes below. Let's do a rapid recap, my friends. Let's get this started. All right. So fall 2021 is coming up in like now. And we want to set ourselves up for success this year. So instead of just thinking about what are all the things that I should be doing, what are all the to-do lists that I need to check off, what are all the items that have to happen, I want you to consider these questions. Question number 1. I want you to visit the needs and desires. What is it that you need in order to feel successful? What is it that you desire beyond that need level? And then I want you to consider also the needs and desires of your clients. What do they need in order to be successful? But what do they really, in their heart of hearts, desire? Make a list of those things. I think you're going to find it fascinating to look at. Once you know those, then you can set your priorities. You can figure out what priorities do I need to have in place in order for those needs and desires to happen, to materialize and come into the universe. So set 1 or 2 priorities for yourself so that you have like a guiding star for what's going to be happening in this next season. When we set those priorities, then that gives us an idea about what we actually have to do. What are the strategies or targets that we need to put in place in order for those priorities to be set and kept? So we look at the needs and desires, we set those priorities, and then we choose the targets and we get strategic about how we're going to put those things into place and into practice. Now, those are the big questions. Those are the things where you want to sit down and maybe journal a little bit, free think, set aside some time to dream. And then here are 2 kind of to-do listy items that I'd love for you to look at. Please, dear friend, if you have not already, please consider giving yourself a raise. Because 1, you are worth the amount that you want to charge. And 2, when we skip giving ourselves a raise for a period of years, we're going to fall further and further behind with the way wage increases typically work and with the way inflation works. So don't set yourself up to be that person who hasn't given themselves a raise in 10 years. Because at that point, in order for you to catch up to where you need to be and where you desire to be, it's going to be painful. So give yourself a raise on the regular. And then the final thing here is remember to refresh the permissions. You know, your computer's constantly asking you to put the password in again. And I want you to think about that for your own studio. Refresh the permissions. If that's a policy or a contract that needs to be signed every year, maybe it's a social media release, just making sure that everybody knows what is important, what are the priorities, what are the needs and desires, and how you're going to get there. How can you do that and refresh the permissions? So give yourself permission to refresh the permissions this year. All right, so those are the 5 things that we've gone through. And don't forget, I've got some gifts for you guys. If you want a gift for the voice teachers, the gift for this is a really cool email sequence that comes with a journal that helps you define what success looks like in your life. And I also have a gift for piano teachers and music teachers in general. If you'd like to join me on August 11th with Carly Walton, it's going to be a fantastic time. And we're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff. And we have a little visitor for the end of the broadcast. Say hello to Freya. There we go. Say hello, Freya. Freya says, I would like to give you a gift, please. And if you would like this gift, you're going to give me a success below. All right, so give me a success below if you want to get a hold of those freebies. If you enjoyed today's broadcast, you can let me know by showing me some hearts, giving me some thumbs, and letting other teacher friends know about this. If you have a colleague who could benefit from this conversation and benefit from joining us every Wednesday, please invite them here. Let them know that we're here and we love to learn out loud. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend time together because we've got a beautiful community here who comes together every week. I will be back next Wednesday with more goodness. And in the meantime, I would encourage you to stay savvy and stay you, because you are an amazing teacher and there's nobody in the world quite like you. And I think that you are pretty dang awesome. Thanks for being here, everyone. We'll see you next time.